This lecture is going to be about gender and just gender differences around the world. And I want to big time concentrate on this one on the legal things that exist around the world in terms of just legal rights. Gender is going to show up in a lot of our units here. And for, I want to talk about just some of the legal differences that are held around the world between them. So you can read here. This is a study done by the World Bank. About 155 countries have at least one law that limits women's economic opportunity or put restrictions on them. And you can see the date up here of this article is the 2016 study on this. And you can see here, I'm going to scroll a little bit. Number of laws that limit it. There we go. Number of laws that women's economic opportunities. You can just see here. So, it's far from being the case that, you even go to Russia, a relatively developed country, 456 jobs banned from women having. And so we're going to look at different things around the world with that and where you have just gender differences as a whole when looking at the differences of behaviors that are appropriate for men and women based on gender. So I think the easiest one, besides what we are always talking about, there were legal differences. I'll talk about land ownership stuff, which has also been a legal concept, where women do a majority of the farmland in LDCs where they rarely own land. So here is a map of land holdings by women. You can just see here it's way less than, even though they're doing 70% of the agricultural land work in some of these countries in LDCs and a lot of these areas, they don't own nearly a month of land. That's because the man had migrated to the city most often. The man migrates to the city to work, and he still owns land. We already talked about the legal rights. How about social expectations? I think about this one. It was a just kind of impromptu study by a guy in Australia. He was kind of the host of the equivalent of Good Morning America show in Australia. He literally wore the same thing to work every day for a year. He did this impromptu after his co-host, who was a female, was criticized for wearing the same color in a week. And so I think about social expectations, they can vary greatly by side, and we're going to do some case studies in class of this. The other one here I want to highlight is this is India and just a legal difference. Triple talaq. Triple talaq is a kind of extreme Islamic teaching that not very many hold to, and it's even the very conservative part of Islam. Most people don't hold to this teaching at all. Triple talaq is the belief that if you say the word talaq, talaq, talaq 3 times, you would be legally divorced. You could send it in a text message. That was actually taken out of law in some provinces in India recently. Okay. Here are just some other ways that we see that legal rights differ for women. Now, when you think about this also can get at partially what woman's role is in that culture. And so the percentage of women who receive any breast milk at 12 months of age. Notice that this number goes down. You're going to see in a lot of Western countries. Why? The woman's probably back to work, or here the woman is more likely staying home. And so you start to see the difference of where a woman is in society. We will talk about female genital mutilation in class. It is way too difficult to talk about in a lecture form online. And then lastly, we'll talk about this one a little more too with some stuff of just how kind of the easiest example with this stuff is Islamic, or with gender expectations, is Muslim women and what they are required or not required to wear. And it very much differs by country. And so that is a pretty interesting take because they all have very different takes of what their faith looks like. So what you take away from this, you should take away just the legal rights being different around the world, the land rights, economic opportunities, women being behind in basically all of those throughout the world.